Hi, my name is Bill and I study medieval early modern history.
Hi, my name's Theo and I study modern history.
So for me, we start with learning about the Crusades and the Crusader states. We then move on to studying Wars of the Roses. And then finally, in our second year, we do popular culture and witch craze.
So I start with studying American history, then I move on to Britain through the ages, and then I focus on Stalin and his rise to power, and then we look at Russia as a depth study.
In the second year, you do your largest topic, and for medieval early modern history, that is popular culture and witchcraft.
So we study Russia in the second year, which obviously takes up the most part of your A level, and that's focusing from Alexander II all the way up to Khrushchev.
I do the motivations of the First Crusade, and this topic takes up 20% of your final grade. And it's really nice because you can chip away at it over the year, and by the end of it you can go into your exam with those marks guaranteed.
So I study Stalin's rise to power, which is a really interesting bit of history, and focusing on the different factors of why Stalin got into power. And just as Bill said, you can really focus on this for a very long period of time, and you just slowly develop more understanding about the topic, and it's really interesting.
We both go to London to watch productions which fit with the topics that we do. I went to go and watch Six, which fits in with our Wars of the Roses topic. And I also went to Ludlow to go and visit the castle, which also fits in with that topic.
So for our trips in modern history, we go to see Hamilton in London, which is an amazing play, and it really is focused on our main topic of American history. And then I believe that there is a trip coming down the pipeline for the combined history to go abroad.
So for revision workshops in the second year, we both have 2 a week.
Yeah.
Is that right? 2 a week. So they happen in the in lunch times, and they are extremely useful because for me, I go through Crusades, which was the first topic I did all the way back in first year. So it's really useful to have that revision and going back over it with your teacher before you try and revise it yourself.
Also through the time of coursework, especially for modern history, they really do a lot of workshops for getting your coursework sorted. So they'll bring out new sources, they'll bring out examples, and examples are really important because you're not actually allowed to access examples and take them home with you, but you can go through them with your teacher and have a look at them and things like that. So that's really been helpful to me. So in modern history, we really focus on having textbooks which really condense all the information and put it in very kind of logical ways in which you learn it, from kind of political to social to economic factors. And I think that differs very slightly to you when it comes to coursework.
We have to study lots of primary texts, which are often found in big books in the library. So I spent lots of my time here lugging around lots of books, but they are fascinating because you get to see firsthand what people thought thousands of years ago. But in terms of day-to-day lessons, very similar to modern students. We have certain booklets with each topic that contain all the history. We work through them in lessons, and so if there's ever something that you're not sure about, you know where to go to find that information. Directed learning is basically where you get given some questions to go through alongside your homework and classwork, and I recommend putting lots of effort into it because it will really help you with the course.
For first year, it's not a massive thing. It's kind of just keeping on top of, and it's getting that real base fundamental knowledge of your topics, and it's really good to just basically keep on top of. And then in second year, it's all about revision. And it's about looking back at the things you've pretty much forgotten and really focusing on getting your head around those, because you're not studying them in the class because you've got such a big thing to deal with in the second year, but you still need to keep topping up that knowledge in the second year.
I'll say as well that it's really useful coming into a lesson having already looked at the material before and sort of understanding the whole context around what you're learning.
It puts you in really good stead for when you are coming up to your exams, because you've had that kind of just slow kind of ticking over of knowledge and just keeping returning to your subject. I mean, that's the best way you revise, isn't it? My favourite thing about history is kind of learning about all the different leaders and how they kind of contextualise what we learn today. And I study politics as well, and it's really interesting, especially in our Britain course, how rules and legislation passed back in those days affect us today still. And then when we study the Cold War and things like that, and we look at the effect of Khrushchev on the USSR, it's really, really interesting about how that affected kind of the end of Russia and the end of the Soviet Union.
So the most interesting topic for me has been the witch craze, where we get to look at individual witches and see why they were persecuted. I found this extremely interesting because you get to see a proper insight into the lives of people in the early modern period.
Why is medieval history better than modern history?
Oh, well, I think the reason it is just so much better, it's like one whole Netflix series. There are so many plot twists, so many funny characters, like this guy in the crusade called Peter the Hermit, who would ride around naked on his donkey, and he drank only wine and only ate fish. So go on then, Theo, why do you think modern history is better?
Well, I think the most important thing is that it actually impacts what we're doing in life today. I mean, medieval history, it's quite a long time ago.
It may be a long time ago, but there's definitely still religious tensions that existed all this time ago that are still very prevalent today.